I know, and you know what I love? It's like, it's all men here. Where's the women? But we'll come on to that. So, before we start, I just want you to think in your mind what your impression of me is, and then we'll come back to that later. So you don't need to write it down, but just think what's your initial impression of me, and then we'll come back. But I want to take you back to the beginning before we go into me as a woman in a leadership role and where it all began. And for me, I'm Gen X. I'm a happy-go-lucky sort of person. I've been a very inquisitive child, always asking questions. I had zero exposure to the digital world. In fact, we've just been laughing about some of the old-fashioned stuff we used to use in the day. And we had conversations around the dinner table, which was, you know, I think really interesting because you got to know what mum and dad was doing and interact and communicate. So I had one biological brother and I had 9 foster brothers, and I have to say that I had an adult education in childhood. And why do I mean that? We had local authorities, social workers, police in our home, you know, so I was exposed to lots of really important conversations. But also that empowered me. And my parents empowered me and gave me self-belief because they always involved us. But we also empowered those foster children that came into our home. So I was empowered times 10, which is quite interesting when you see a young, vulnerable person coming into the home and see their transformation and how they then leave you. It's quite amazing. So my traits, inquisitive, an information absorber. We are sponges when we're young, but then that just never stopped. Resilient, because I had to be. I was exposed to some not great things, actually. I was a caregiver, as you can see, playing with the foster children. And I was a natural leader. So I always took like a lead, caring role in the home. And actually, I started work at age 13. I was the village babysitter. People trusted me in their home with their children. So, and that continued until I was around 17. So, I was very confident. I like to say the confident little bulldozer. And I went into an apprenticeship and I carried on with that inquisitive mindset, asking questions. How does this work? What, why, when, how? And I did navigate politics, but I totally ignored gender bias. And I think that is because I've grown up in that male-dominated environment. So I didn't see it. I just didn't see it, wasn't there. And I wasn't afraid to push boundaries or challenge. And actually being a disruptor means you are innovative by nature. So a few achievements there. Obviously 25 years worth of building my network on LinkedIn. I've sat multiple government roundtable talks. I've supported over 3,000 youngsters into their first career roles, which has been amazing because I've learned so much from those youngsters in terms of what they do and don't know, how they perceive life, what their frame of reference is. I've been a sector specialist and a pilot for educational reform. What does that mean? We changed years ago from frameworks to standards so that corporations were more involved with setting what they needed to see out of the apprenticeship. My biggest win contract was 5 million. That was for a college, shame it wasn't for me. And I've worked alongside a 60 billion government initiative as a consultant. So I've done a fair bit in my time. But I want to look at the man's world analogy, and I wish there were some women in the room actually. But in the FTSE 100 and 250, there's only 19 women CEOs. And then obviously, women only receive 2.3% of the investment funding. These next figures, I didn't know until I researched this myself, but women are underrepresented in tech roles, just 24% globally and 29% in the UK, and that's declining. Now, I've got a reason why I think that is, because I think more men are coming into the sector. So as more men come in, it reduces the stats. So I don't think that, you know, we've lost women to the sector. I think they're still there, but maybe more men are opting for that subject, maybe. And this could be very present today, as I'm the only one here. But there are pay gaps as well in female IT specialists, around 6%. But I want to flip that on its head, because this is how I see things. And I want to say to go boldly where no woman has gone before, because I think that's what I've done all my life. I've worked in advanced engineering, I've worked in manufacturing, I've worked in construction. So I've always been in those male-dominated areas. So I see this as a dare to challenge, an opportunity to actually look at that. And I might actually do this myself and think, I might write to the rest of those companies in the FTSE 250 and ask them why they haven't got any female CEOs. And ask them if they'd be interested in a deputy female CEO. And see what their answer is. Could I actually end up working in a FTSE 250 or FTSE 100? Why not? You know, so why don't I challenge myself to do that? The women receiving 2.3% of investment funding. So I'm part of Let's Fund More Women. And what we did last year was we overturned a decision that Women in Innovation made. They said they were going to award 50 grants and then only awarded 25, and within 48 hours we turned that decision over. We then sat roundtable talks with them. We produced data. We have a WhatsApp group of around 600 women in there. We compiled a report, and actually what we brought back to them was some of the key challenges within their own funding processes. That resulted in their 10 commitments policy. And you'll see now a lot more information on women finance only, or women funding emerging. British Business Bank has launched something. So actually we've started a bit of a chain reaction, but there's so much more work to do in that space. Where we talk about underrepresentation, and I've given my idea of where I think that is. For me, I think this is an opportunity that's ripe for the taking and growth. And I would say to any woman, well, go boldly where no woman's been before. Because actually, in a room, if you're the only woman, you stand out. And actually, people will remember you. So it's not to fear. It's to immerse yourself within that environment and actually get involved. I actually don't mind this at all. I'm really comfortable having lived my entire work life and childhood surrounded by men. I'm fine with this, you know. And I know it's not for everybody, but you can see how my character's been formed. The gender bias, I've told you I ignore the gender bias. I have addressed it before in a roundabout way. But again, I think because I'm not afraid to connect and have conversations with my male counterparts, again, it doesn't tend to crop up much because I'll just immerse myself within it. And I think if you're confident in that environment, it gives you that added edge to you. Pay gaps, female IT pay gaps. Well, I thought about this one, and you can ask for equal pay. And throughout my career, when I look back, I've always asked for equal pay. So when I've had a promotion, I've always said, yes, I'll take that as long as you pay me what my equivalent is getting paid. And there's nothing wrong with asking for that. And actually we have HR departments for that. But if you're business leaders yourself, what I'd say is you set your equitable pay. So make it fair, you know, deliver what's right. But just, it's in very small writing, but you know, in my advanced engineering and manufacturing career, I was one of the higher paid members of the team. And when I was a tier 1 consultant in construction, I was one of the top 5% highest paid out of 600 employees. So I can't really complain about that. But when I look back on the why, I set my bar. So I asked, and I said, I'll do X for X. It's quite bold, but actually, why shouldn't we all ask? You all have a value to what you're doing. So I want to talk about imposter syndrome, because I might stand here and seem very confident, but we all are human beings and we all have doubt. And I'm sure actually men have doubt as much as women, but I think women can overanalyze and overthink things. And these are some of the questions that I've asked myself throughout my career. And if we look at each one of those a little bit more in depth, am I taken seriously? And I'm sure you all recognise these. Is anyone listening? Am I seen? Am I heard? Am I valued? Where are my female counterparts? I asked this question the other day. Where are they all? I now know, because the percentages I've researched. So I know that I'm in the lower amount of females in my sector. So that's where they are. They're not here, or they're not here yet. No, they're definitely not here, you're right. And how did I arrive here? Actually, where I am today wasn't a chosen path, by the way. So we spoke a little bit about careers advice. And my careers advice was you can go to college, you can get an apprenticeship, or you can go in a factory. That was the three options given to me. And I didn't want to do any of those. I actually wanted to be an interior designer. So ultimately, I've ended up on this pathway, and opportunities have knocked throughout my career, and I've always said yes. And why do I always say yes? Because I hear people say, oh, learn to push back, learn to say no. I say no. Say yes, because then you can say no later. But if you say no, you can't say yes later. So even if you go for an interview, you can go all the way through the process and then still not take the job. But if you say no at the beginning, you can't then a week later go, oh, actually, I'd like an interview. Sorry, it's gone. So I say yes. I'm not qualified. I definitely sometimes get inferior complex, but I'm talking to a lot of academics, professors, people in government, and I sometimes think, oh my God, they know so much more than me. And I start comparing myself, which I shouldn't, and I think, am I going to say the wrong thing and make myself look stupid? It doesn't actually matter. Asking questions is all part of it. And should I quit? Sometimes I have actually thought, God, should I quit? This is too much. Do I belong here? Do I need the added stress? Why is this so hard for women? And then I sort of evaluated. So this was very cathartic for me, doing this particular slide, because actually it reminded me that I must have done my job well at some point, because I'm here where I am today. I do have a strong network. I am an opportunist, so I see opportunities, I see gaps in markets. And because I say yes, it leads me somewhere. I am chartered, I've got lived experience and common sense, Martin, you mentioned that. Having a common sense approach to things is so vitally important. And what I say to everybody is never give up or give in. Dream big, because if you dream big, then you might hit here. But if you dream small, you might just do this. So actually, whatever your ambition and dream is, then stretch that a little bit, because actually everything's achievable. The only person that's actually going to prevent that is you. So innovate within yourself. So allyship, this is so important for me. I am also a mental health first aid instructor, trained, and we talk about allyship in terms of well-being and being a good ally. But actually, men can really support us women and make fantastic coaches and supporters. And we need more great men. And I don't know who I was talking to, but we need to think about our next generations and how we pave the way going forwards and make it easier for them. So for me, you know, my top tips are seek men and women that will advocate for you. And what do I mean by that? They will talk good about you in a room that you're not in. You know, find your tribe. Do get a coach and mentor. Can I just ask, who's got a coach and mentor in the room? 2 of you. I've got 4 currently. And know when to walk away as well. So when you're building out a collaboration or a strategic partnership, you know, not everything's going to work. So it goes back to that failing fast. If you're having a conversation with somebody and you want something to work, me and Martin's talked about collaboration and strategic partnerships and some things that we want to do. And, you know, I know Martin advocates for everything that he does, and I advocate this is a great medium for getting people together. But also you can contribute through volunteering within your sector specialists, because obviously that will open up new doors for you as well and provide new opportunities. But what I would say is, men, we always need you to advocate for women. So I think this makes sense how I've got here. But that one's really important, timing. Timing as well is so fundamentally important. And I was talking to Martin when I first arrived. I've got something that's happening at the moment in the business, and timing is so crucial. It's like I'm standing at a crossroads, but I want it to be 3 months down the line. And I've just got to be patient because the timing's not quite there. So my collaborative mindset. I'm not going to preach the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, but I do actually really live by this. And for me, this one's so important. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Because unless we have a proper communication and a discussion, and I find out about you and what you do and how you might be able to support me, I can't then say to you, we do this, and actually there might be an opportunity here for us to do something together. So it's quite interesting when we look at those 7 habits. Ask inquiring questions, active listening, you know, really listen and engage effectively. None of the on the phone. That's so awful, isn't it? You're having a conversation and somebody's on the phone. And your body language, you know, you'll see I'm using my arms a lot. I'm very open, you know, and be present in the moment. So that's really fundamentally key. So we want like-minded people, same values. For me, values is really key. And that for me is a yes. But we might meet people who lack synergy and there's a bit of disconnect and we're not going to be able to partner and do things together. That's fine. They're still part of our network. You know, we can still know people because you never know when there might be a connect later down the line. But you can tell within 60 seconds to 5 minutes of talking to somebody if you've got that sort of synergy. So I want to come back to the question I asked you and what you thought about me, first impression. Anybody want to share what they... Smart, thank you, I'll take that. Confident, thank you. Fabulous, darling, fabulous.
Joking aside, first time I met you, confidence straight away, and I didn't see you as a woman.
Thanks, Martin.
In a negative way. But I didn't see your gender basically. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes.
I saw you.
You just saw me.
Yes,
yeah.
I saw you.
Yeah.
Someone who's confident and knew what they were talking about.
Oh, thank you. And I the same with you. You know, when I first met you.
I'm a chancer.
And I think we were at Dryden Enterprise Centre, weren't we? And I just can remember having that chat with you in the foyer.
Yeah.
And thinking, Martin's a really nice guy. I like Martin. He's great. I think, you know.
I think it's human to human, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And having that synergy, that likeness, and coming from a place of that empathetic listening, that understanding, that wanting to build connections. And, you know, For me, I've spent many, many years out networking in the wider world, meeting all sorts of people. And I actually love meeting people. I'm definitely a server, and I think that stems from my childhood. So I think what I'm trying to get at is that very early training ground for me was like the server leader. You know, that I'm helping, I'm supporting, which is where leaders really should come from. You are the Sherpa, you are the guider. You know, you should always, as a leader, be saying to your people, what's your biggest challenge today? How can I help you? Let me try and remove that barrier.
That's a concern that I have. We were talking about it earlier a little bit, but and this is another reason why I wanted to do this. Is one is to get people out of their home, to get more younger people in as well. More people. You obviously in recruitment training, that tech space. Yeah. Younger people away from working at home and
being back in the.
They're not. I mean, that's the thing about coming back to the office, but actually just literally just meeting other humans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's a big challenge, and there's another reason I want to do this, and that's why it's open office as well. You can stay here. Is at least one day of the week if you want to. You don't need to worry about having to go to a co-working space. You can just come here and network and meet people.
Yeah.
Because actually, that's how you make the connection. It's human to human. This comes back to that. It's
Absolutely,
so
absolutely. And I couldn't agree more. And you know, I've seen it so many times in my educational field, you know, where they don't know how to do that communication because they've sat on a PC for, you know, gaming. So my top iconic leaders, it won't shock you, a lot of guys at the top, but also some women as well. And these are like my entire career. This guy, I've tried to find this guy. I fear he's probably not with us now, but I've tried to find this guy for so long. And I can't find him on LinkedIn, can't find him anywhere. Even rang the pub in the village where I knew he used to live to see if he was still in existence. And
It's not Jackie Wright from Sony, is it?
no, it's not, no. But yeah, Arthur Brown was a consultant for Parcel Force. And when I finished my apprenticeship, I went to work on a contract with Parcel Force. At the time, it was a temporary contract through an agency. So I was almost like a mini consultant at age 19, but I learned so much from that guy. It was amazing. And he had, honestly, this guy's got no idea how much he shaped my life at the age of 19. No idea. And I wish I could actually find him and say to him, this has been my journey since you know. But they've all, this guy, Justin, he was my sales manager when I was in sales, and I was very, very good at sales because I listened. It was a consultative sale. I found out what people needed, and then I provided a solution for them. And people used to say to me, how come that you just blast your targets? I say, because it's really easy to engage with people and understand what their needs are. And then you match that solution and give them the benefits, and then, you know, you don't even have to like close the sale. It's going to close itself if you're doing a good job. Carlos, he's my worldwide CEO. I'll come on to the company in a little while. And Dean, he's one of my board advisors. Christine, what a wonderful woman. She helped me in a time in my 20s when I was really ill. I mean, seriously ill, in and out of hospital. And the why she did that? Because the college had done it for her when she went through breast cancer. And she paid it forward to me. And we're still friends today. And she then left the college and became her own business owner, made a fortune. She actually owns half of a mountain in Bulgaria somewhere. But she's a real, you know, to be thought of. But yeah, they all had an impact on me in a positive way. And I've been blessed to have them because they've challenged me, they've shaped me, they've helped me grow and excel. And we need iconic leaders.
Could I just make an observation? I think you've done well to find 7, because
I know, yes.
I think if I counted, you know, I was just racking my
doing the
brains
same as
now,
well.
probably 3 people that I would want to look up, find, work
Yes.
with, work for again. I could put 24 on there of people I would never have.
Exactly.
Never again.
Exactly, I agree. I think there's many poor leaders out there, and there's very few. That's why I put I've been blessed. Because when I was looking back over my career, I was like, God, do you know what? I am so lucky to have met those people and them to have advocated for me. And you're right, there isn't loads of amazing leaders when you look at your career. Usually it's the negative ones that have driven you to where you are today. Yeah, it's the other way round. And don't get me wrong, I have got those. I've got a never will work with again list and would love to work with again, absolutely. But I wanted this to be positive. So I have talked about my volunteer work, some of the stuff that I do, but also I have touched on STEM. I am a STEM ambassador. I love supporting young women into STEM. I love coaching young women, and I've done enterprise in women talks, and I've led business leader discussions at Aston University of late, and I'm very passionate about the educational sector. In fact, I think I would love to return to education at some point, if I'm honest. If I'm really truly honest, I think that would be what I would love to do. But what I would say is, and I love this quote, it comes from the Olympic Park at Sheffield: children are 25% of the population and 100% of the future. So, you know, if we grow up and we want to be looked after later, we need to look after that 25%, because they're going to be looking after us. And they are important. So let me just talk very quickly about Digital for Health UK. We are part of Digital for Health Worldwide. It's a massive ecosystem across the globe. We operate in 60 cities and 30 countries across 5 continents, and we are looking at revolutionising the healthcare system and incorporating digital and AI technologies into healthcare. What does that mean? We're not talking about standard co-pilot stuff like that. We're talking about real technologies like bra sensors that will monitor breast cancer and find that at stage 1 and stage 2 through fluid changes in the breast, so that actually we can negate and act on that much quicker. We're talking about wearable technologies that can actually remotely monitor people in the home, so they don't actually have to keep going back to the hospital time and time again for a consultation and a checkup. Because actually that costs billions. And we talked about it, didn't we? Lean Six Sigma. I'm a Lean Six Sigma practitioner. So for me, I see all that reverse engineering and everything. So that's what we're here to do. We only started in May. We launched the business here in May. So the UK is like the baby of all those countries at the moment. But so far we've got partnerships with Notts-Trent University and MTIF, Medical Technology Innovation Facilities. We also have a partnership with Aston University and Capgemini Centre of Excellence for Enterprise AI. And we also have a partnership with the Healthcare Innovation Consortium. But we have other partnerships bubbling away right now. And we have some exciting news that I can't share at the moment, but I think that the UK marketplace is going to be an interesting one. I think we've landed at an interesting time where the NHS have just launched their 10-year Fit for Future plan. And tomorrow I'm having a conversation with the Chamber parliamentary team about NHS. Can we influence some policy changes? So our next event is coming up in October. And if you know any organisation who's in digital health tech, who wants to scale up, so they're already operational, they're at commercialisation stages, they've got the chance to pitch to the British Business Bank, female founder Climb and Mercia on the 6th of October. There is some information here that you can link to for registration and booking, and it is going to be held at MTIF at Clifton campus. I've got probably 4 or 5 spots left for people to pitch, so I just would welcome them. And what I would say is, even if you don't need the money right now, you should never wait until you need money. You should always plan ahead. So even if you're thinking, I'm going to need funding in 6 to 12 months' time, now is really the time to be pitching for funding, It's a little bit like getting a mortgage and then going house hunting. You've got your mortgage in principle, then you're going to go and find your house. It's the same analogy. So thank you. You can find me on my website. You can join the community for free. I will be intermittently here at Built-in Knots. I think me and Martin are going to do some stuff together. Martin's going to be on the webinar panel to get these pictures investor ready.
Yep.
And, you know, we're hopefully going to do some podcasts as well, aren't we?
Yes, we need to sort that out.
Some fun stuff.
Yeah.